commonly passed around piece of advice is that you should fill your life with so many interesting activities that you won't overthink, say, something with a girl, a date you're going on, what the last text meant, all these things that we're so likely to overthink. And I've kind of said something to the effect myself, but here's the truth. My life right now is really quite full. I wake up, I go to work, I work while I'm eating lunch, then I go work out, then I do a martial art, then I hang out with friends, then I go home, then I try to sleep and read a book. And yet I still overthink. I still find time. My brain finds the energy and the will to keep the wheel spinning on, oh, what should I ask her to go do? Or what should I say? Or was this thing gonna go right? It's not just about girls. It's about anything that you might overthink when you specifically do not want to be thinking about it, when that thinking is only destructive. Like when you're in the early stages of dating with someone, that early compulsive thinking about them is almost entirely destructive. It ruins so many fledgling relationships. It gets so many guys caught up. It's a disaster for guys. For girls, not as much, but for guys, it's a disaster early on. So what do we do then? If filling up our lives with interesting activities and keeping ourselves busy isn't enough, what should we do? What we should do is what the meditator does. Accept the thoughts because they're going to come, and separate yourself from them and know, well, of course I'm thinking this way. I'm a human being. Human beings are obsessed with sex, are obsessed with the opposite gender. Like, this is just how we are. And maybe I'm specifically more like this, but I don't have to react to it. I don't have to let these thoughts take over me. And most of all, I don't need to build my self-image around having these thoughts. I don't need to think, because I'm thinking about this all the time, I'm a loser, I'm obsessive, like, you don't have to think that because you're separating from the thoughts. You're saying, I don't like these thoughts. I don't want this to be happening. I don't actually care that much. It's just the thoughts are coming anyway. I've even had it where it's like someone I don't even really like. I don't even want to date them. I really couldn't care too much if the thing goes on, at least in the logical part of my mind. I logically understand that it wouldn't work out with them anyway. And yet I'm overthinking, I'm obsessing, I'm doing all these things to shoot myself in the foot, even though I don't care if I fail. Some people are just prone to this kind of thinking. You don't need to hate yourself for it because that makes you think all the more. What you need to do is just say, there goes those thoughts. It's so funny how we human beings are so obsessed with the opposite sex. It's so strange how I care so much. There's that thought again. You don't want to fight the thought. Like today I was doing that a bit too much. I was like, dude, you gotta stop thinking about that. Like, what is with you? Like, stop thinking, who cares? But getting in that fight is another form of thinking about it, isn't it? That's carrying the momentum of that thought. Thinking about the thought is thinking, obviously. It traps you. It becomes a ping pong match where you're thinking of this thought and this thought and this thought and this thought. You need to let it all go and accept that you're doing the right things. Maybe not thinking the right things, but you're not sitting at home obsessing. If you were doing that, you would deserve these negative emotions. You would deserve to think of yourself maybe as a bit creepy, because it is to think and obsess. But if you're doing what you should be doing and living a good life, and your mind is just, bothering you, that's not your fault. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It doesn't mean you're weird. It's just completely normal. And that shift in mindset is so useful, not just with thinking about dating or any other kind of invasive thought you might have, but with other aspects of your personality, that you don't like. As long as you are identifying them and saying you don't like them, well, then you don't have to take complete ownership of them, because there you are saying that you don't like them and resisting them. Now, of course, you don't want to be one of these people that uses self-awareness as an excuse for being terrible, because, you can be evil and be like, yeah, well, I know I'm evil. Isn't that charming? It doesn't make you not evil. But if you're saying this part of me is bad, I don't like it, and I'm really, I don't act from that place, I try as hard as I can to not act from it, then you don't need to carry the shame associated with that thought or that feeling or that part of yourself. You can just let it go. Take it as it comes, let it pass by you, and don't worry about it so much. Let the thoughts come, but stay strong as to what you're going to do, what you should do, what your plan of action is, and don't let these thoughts just change you up when you know that they're destructive, when you know that they've messed things up for you in the past. That's all.